What's up, guys? This is the host of No Holding Back, Chris and Yellow. Many of you guys know of the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman at the age of 43 after suffering 4 years with colon cancer since 2016. Everyone was shocked about the news. No one really knew he was suffering from a disease. And the only way we could have told was if you really, were a big fan of him and you checked out pictures at events that took place that he was there, or at award ceremonies, and you saw that slowly he was getting skinnier and skinnier by the second. But today I don't want to mourn the death of Chadwick Boseman. I want to celebrate it. A lot of people always like to mourn people's deaths, which is honestly totally fine. But how about for a change, we celebrate this great American treasure? Not only did he embody Black Panther and gave so much inspiration to so many young African American children, but also to Black communities. He gave hope to them. And Chadwick Boseman also embodied historical African American idols such as Jackie Robinson, James Brown, Thurgood Marshall. While doing so, he was able to show what society problems they faced. And those problems were racism, tragedy, and triumph. And unfortunately, we lost him at such a young age. But today, I have Annalisa on the podcast to discuss and celebrate this wonderful person's career and the impact he has had on so many of our lives. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
No problem.
So let's get started with what your thoughts were when you heard of the passing of Chadwick Boseman.
Okay, well, I was obviously shocked. I didn't expect it at all. Not for anything, but he did so many movie roles between 2016 and 2020. As much as he did lose a lot of weight, I honestly thought it was probably just for a role. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't, the first thought to me wasn't, oh, he's sick. I don't know. He was just so dedicated to his career and inspiring so many young people that I really just thought that it was for a role or something.
Yeah, and we watched the Five Bloods together, and I realized he was very skinny in that role, and I thought he was playing like a starving soldier since it took place in the Vietnam War. So it fit the profile. But then later on, finding out that he suffered from colon cancer and that's how he passed away, it all came to me. And every single picture that I saw, every interview, any video that showed him within the last couple of months, I saw him very, very skinny, and he looked very unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people on Twitter were saying, oh my God, he looks unhealthy. So already it started, people talking on social media. And then we hear the tragic news all of a sudden out of nowhere. It was late at night on a weekday, if I'm not mistaken. And there you go. He's gone just like that. And, the impact he's had on so many people. And, I saw an emotional interview where he spoke about 2 little children who passed away due to cancer. And he was so emotional. And usually you don't really see that from a celebrity. They try to hide their emotions. They're not really open. They don't really like telling people their business. Where in this case, he gave out a very, normal reaction as a human being. He wasn't acting. He was that was really him. And we found out that he formed a friendship with them and the family, and the kids spoke so highly about him, and they even said that they felt so inspired with all the movie roles that they watched from him. Obviously they were kids, so I highly doubt that they watched the more serious movies. Maybe a movie like, I would say, Jackie Robinson or the Black Panther, for example. But more serious movies like James Brown or Thurgood Marshall, those are more serious movies, so I highly doubt they watch those. But you guys must know him from 42, like I mentioned, where he played Jackie Robinson, Get On Up, where he played James Brown, his first appearance as Black Panther in Civil War, Marshall, where he played Thurgood Marshall, the Black Panther movie, which was, a cast of majority of African American actors, and it reached $1 billion, which is very, very rare. But nowadays, with Disney making, $1 billion in every single movie, they were one of the first ones. So it's a great inspiration to see, he was part of that. And, you had so many great African American actors before him, like Denzel Washington, and a lot of people were comparing him to him, saying that he's going to be like the next Denzel. He has that impact, he has that swagger. He's very cool, just like Denzel was. And the funny thing is that Denzel Washington and Chadwick Boseman are very good friends. And I remember one of my family members telling me that Denzel Washington actually paid for Chadwick Boseman's tuition fees in college, and I felt that was a very beautiful story. And I remember that he was saying that Denzel is his idol, and when they were celebrating Denzel's career at an award ceremony, he was saying, the impact that Denzel had not only on his life but on the African community as well. And now you see Chadwick Boseman, a rising star, have the same impact, but now he tragically passes away. And one thing that comes to mind is Heath Ledger and Paul Walker. Those two guys are at the peak of their careers, and they just suddenly, one day, gone. Passes away suddenly. And unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman is one of those guys. A guy who had so much more to give the world, and unfortunately wasn't able to give any more. And, it's really sad to think about it. I remember I couldn't even have any emotion or have tears. I was just in pure shock. The last movie I watched, obviously we said The Five Bloods. I remember I watched 21 Bridges with my father, and he told me that this guy is going to be the next Denzel Washington, like I was saying. My dad was like saying, this guy, he has the looks, he has the acting ability. Even though 21 Bridges wasn't a fantastic movie, he literally carried that movie on his back. He made it more interesting than it was. And I remember Kevin Feige, received a message about a couple hours before his passing saying that he was unfortunately diagnosed with colon cancer and he was going to pass away soon. And he was only able to read that message once he passed away. And, imagine feeling that emotion. Imagine the emotion he felt opening that email. Not only is he an executive, but they must have been good friends. They worked on many projects together. Avengers Endgame, like I mentioned before, Civil War, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War. And Chadwick Boseman was saying to one of his coworkers that he really, really wanted to get Black Panther 2 filmed. And people didn't know why he was so excited and he wanted to rush the project so quickly. And unfortunately, now that we look at it, it's because he knew his time was coming up and he wanted to give people one last run at their money to see him perform. And he was going to, honestly, I think it was probably going to be the best performance of his career. And we were going to see him up against a potential, huge bad guy like Doctor Doom. And you see Wakanda versus Latveria, his home country, or, area, or whatever you want to call it. Annalisa, is there anything you want to say on the subject of Chadwick Boseman? Like growing up in your early teens, watching Chadwick Boseman.
The first movie I watched of his, I think, was 42. Pretty sure I watched it in one of my English classes, and I remember seeing him portray Jackie Robinson so well that I don't know. I fell in love with his acting. I fell in love with his person, just himself in that movie. And I remember any movie afterwards that came out and he was in it, I was just so excited to see it and so excited to watch it. And then finally, when I heard that it was gonna become Black Panther, obviously, me being a really big Marvel fan and me being a really big fan of Chadwick, I was very, very excited. And as the premiere date, I was there. I was watching the movie. I was sitting down. I was front row, not front row, but center where you can see the movie perfectly fine. Watching it just in awe because first of all, really good movie. Love it.
I remember you telling me that Black Panther is either your favorite Marvel character or one of your favorites. And was it because of his performance, or you've always liked Black Panther in general?
Both. But I feel he just portrayed Black Panther so well that I really don't think anyone else could do it or could have done it as well as him. Let's say they would have chosen Michael B. Jordan as T'Challa and then Chadwick as I forgot the
Killmonger.
Name. Yes, him.
So they swapped roles.
Let's say they would have swapped roles.
Okay.
I really don't think Michael B. Jordan could have portrayed Black Panther as well as Chadwick did. It's just something about the way, and I love Michael B. Jordan as well. Let me just put that out there. It's just the way Chadwick did it. I don't know how to explain it perfectly, but it's just everything about everything just came together perfectly, and I love it. I don't know.
It's like I said before, like he has that Denzel swagger. Michael B. Jordan has swagger, but it's his own type of swagger. Denzel is very cool, he's very calm and collective. He's one of the first, major African American stars to star in like in a lot of action movies and blockbuster movies in that case. And funny fact, actually, is that Denzel Washington was tapped to play Black Panther in the 90s, and that project fell apart because Marvel couldn't finance the movie because during that time they were in debt. And now you look at it, how much money they're making under Disney, you would have never thought. But yeah, Denzel Washington was the original choice to play Black Panther. And then his apprentice, Chadwick Boseman, suddenly takes up the reins and he does it. He portrays Black Panther. So maybe Denzel pushed for that, or sometimes in Hollywood you need good connections, or maybe just,
No,
it just
I'm
happened.
sure the directors and like the casting agents really just saw how good of an actor Chadwick was, and they really didn't give it a second thought, and they just chose him.
Before Black Panther, what other African American major like superhero did you really have? Yeah, there's so many of them, but I'm talking about on the big screen. You didn't have the African American Green Lantern. I forgot his name, unfortunately, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about. You have Black Panther, you have Falcon. And yeah, we saw Falcon before Black Panther, but Falcon is not a
He
A-list.
never got his own movie.
Yeah, he's not an A-list superhero. Now he's getting his own show. Now he's Captain America. Now they're putting him up there, So I totally understand that, but Black Panther is the definition of an A-list, not only Avenger, but superhero. And that really gave a lot of African Americans and Black communities around the world hope and inspiration, because it's more of a personal connection. People could say, I'm Black Panther. I want to dress up like Black Panther. It's more relatable. You know what I mean? And every culture deserves their own superhero, because we're trying to, find a relation in between that character and yourselves. So Black Panther was that staple, that connection between that community and that superhero. And now with his passing, people are already thinking about replacing him. Maybe Shuri, which is his sister in the movie, should take up the reins. Honestly, respect his legacy and just do not replace him. Respect and honor, what he's done in the MCU, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and just don't touch him. Move on. Find other superheroes that could potentially, work for that company. You have the X-Men, you have Fantastic Four now. Like, don't focus on recasting, the role that Chadwick was, made to play, because you're dishonoring his legacy.
I'm just gonna cut in real sec. I think the sister should play a little bit of the role of Black Panther, because that's how it was in the comics. I'm just gonna say it. And if they want to like put her in one movie, or put her at least in like one action scene as Black Panther, I would really like to see that, because not only does it give like young Black women like a heroine to look up to. Yeah, like it gives them someone to look up to, and honestly, I think she can do it. Like even the actor who plays Shuri, I forgot her name. I'm really bad with names, but she did a really good job at playing the sister, that I feel like, and like her connection with Chadwick in the movie was just like untouchable. Like, I'm sorry, you couldn't get a better casting for brother and sister. I really
It was
think,
natural. It was
yeah,
natural.
exactly. It was really natural.
But I'm not trying to take away that chance of her playing a superhero. I'm just saying it in a way that they could respect his legacy without,
Yeah, and they will respect it if she's just gonna be in like one action scene of Black Panther.
Yeah, African American women deserve that superhero to look up to. I'm not taking that away from them, because you have Captain Marvel, a Caucasian, superhero. I'm not taking that away from her. I just feel that for him, the legacy that he's left should be untouched.
There'll still be a legacy for him. I just think that if they're gonna put her in a movie as a superhero, it should be Black Panther.
But they need to do it right. That's the thing.
Yes, they don't not just, okay, well, he passed away, we're gonna put her instead. They're gonna obviously do it in a way where it makes sense. I'm not sure, like, I'm no creative director or anything like that, but like, let's just say, I don't know, he passes it on to her from like the afterlife. The way like the way that happened in the first movie where he became the Black Panther and he saw his dad. If they do it something like that, I'm not sure how they're gonna do it. I don't
CGI probably.
CGI, yes, but I don't know how that's gonna work. But if they do something like that, like I'd really like to see that. And even if it is just for one movie and she never has to see that role again, at least the movie is like there.
What they could do to honor him without using, CGI, which, some people might say, oh, it's not really him, it doesn't feel as emotional. They could take a scrapped or deleted scene that they never used and somehow work with that and try to fit her in and try to make like the passing of the mantle a proper one rather than using a stunt double, CGI of the guy's face and make him look like Chadwick. I think that's really wrong. I know they did that with Paul Walker, but Paul Walker,
At least it
it
was
was
his
his
brother.
brothers. It was like he was two of his brothers or three of his brothers or yeah, it wasn't just one of his brothers. I know it's weird. It was multiple brothers, and I don't know if Chadwick Boseman has any siblings, any male siblings like brothers. I just feel that they should just take a scrapped scene and somehow work with that. But if you guys wanna see Black Panther like last appearance from the actor Chadwick Boseman, don't forget to check out What If, Marvel's new TV show. It's an animated TV show, and he's gonna be voicing T'Challa for the last time, and it's gonna be as a Star-Lord slash Black Panther hybrid. It's very strange. The show is about other outcomes, other realities where, like, let's say Steve Rogers becomes Iron Man and Tony Stark becomes Captain America. Weird realities like a multiverse or something like that. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, Annalisa, for coming on the podcast today. And is there anything else you would like to add before we conclude?
No, I think that's it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much once again. Thank you to all the viewers. And I would just like to conclude this episode by saying rest in power to the one and only Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman. You've been an inspiration to many people through your portrayal of historical figures, a superhero, and most importantly, a Black Lives Matter activist. You are truly the definition of a true king and a real-life superhero. You will never be forgotten. Wakanda forever. Rest in peace, King.